Right, welcome back to another tutorial video for Play Action Football, which is a new cards and dice football game for the tabletop. In this video, we're going to walk through the setup of the game. The first video was about the components, so if you want to go back and you can see what comes with the game. These will all be linked or put together into a playlist. Should be able to go through those. So you can see here with the setup in the game guide, each season will come with its own game guide, and the first thing that you have here really is a setup, so we'll just be walking through that. What you're going to need to play are 2d10 dice, 2d6 dice, the team cards, so basically two teams, the special place chart, the auto play calling charts if you're doing solo play. You're going to need something, so even if you want to call plays for one team or the other, it doesn't necessarily work very well to call plays against yourself because you know what is coming. So that's for solo play. For head-to-head play, though, you can use the formation cards, the game field, or some sort of chart or some sort of way to keep track of things. A lot of people have like really nice fields for their tabletop football game. That's okay to use. Not a big deal if you have a favorite math that you like to use or a game field. But the game does come with a way to keep track of. It has a field and a clock, so it comes with a way to keep track of those things. Score sheet for keeping player and game stats, and then the momentum cards, which are optional. So we'll walk through each of those components. So for head-to-head play, you'll need each player to have a full set of formation cards, which I can talk about. So you basically need to print those formation cards twice, cut them out so that each player can have a set. So let's just walk through each of these components. So you need to play with at least 1d6 and 1d10, but ideally you'd like to have two sets, and I can walk through showing you why. Let me see here. Let's get a couple of these. Let's do that, and these are not the same color, but let's act like they are. I like to do the same color just because it's helpful whenever you're rolling the dice to have a team that is the same color. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, let's do that instead. So let's say it's Minnesota against the Broncos, right? So we have our team colors here, and I guess I encourage everyone to go out. I got a bag of lots of different kinds of dice. You can see them all in there. They range anywhere from D4s to D100s. So I got that for like $20 or $15 on Amazon. And they've served me really well because I like to color code my teams, and even when I'm playing baseball games and things like that, I like to color code. So you're going to use this for the auto play calling roll, your D6s. You'll use them for other things in the game as well. And then your D10s are going to be used sort of as your, when you're looking to find the play on offense. It'll also be the roll that you add together with all of your different types of adjustments that are that you can make in the game to come out with your final sort of result roll. They're also used in the kicking game quite a bit, and penalties use the D10s. You could get away with having just one D6 and one D10. I think it's going to be a little bit cumbersome and take a little bit of time. So even if you only had a black and a white, or you only had two colors that weren't necessarily team colors, you could use those, and you would just sort of designate, okay, this one is the home team and this one is the away team. If you could do that, it would help to speed up the game just a little bit, because I wind up rolling all four of these together, and then you're looking here first, and then you're looking at this a second. So you're going to need some dice. The second thing you need are the team charts. Really the team cards, but they're chart-like and chart-based. So you have 32 teams. They're all they're all the same size, same layout. You'll have your team colors and your name and how they did and stuff like that here. We have our base defense for each team. It's about half and half. It's more of a mixture today of 4-3 and 3-4. Those are sort of your main two base defenses. And the 85 season, so this is from 2023, the 85 season has a lot of teams running the 3-4 for whatever reason, because everybody liked to run the ball back then. So maybe they were all protecting against the pass. I'm not sure. But not as many 4-3 defenses. In fact, the Bears ran a 4-3 in 1985 and just dominated the line of scrimmage. So, of course, they ran a 4-6 at times as well under Buddy Ryan. So here we have our team cards, and we'll use this as your main finding the play. That's where your 2d10 roll here. And then occasionally, if you want to do a player finder, that's also a D10 roll. You can use some of these stats to kind of help guide you on what's the longest field goal from the field goal kicker. This is more of a simplified extra point and field goal than using the kicking charts over here. And then you can also kind of try to match each team's offensive profile by calling plays or making sure that the plays go in the right direction throughout the game. So, if you want Kansas City to perform in the way that Kansas City performs, they threw it 59, almost 60% of the time. So, if they're running at 50-50, they're definitely going to perform differently than if you're trying to keep those the pass and running ratios. And then we have our player finder here and also here. So team cards, each team needs to have a card. You can't play the game without these, so you got to have one. Special place charts. These are the special plays charts. So they have penalties, punting, kickoffs, any kind of block kicks or special plays are over here. So coach's challenge, if you want to do the weather, which we'll cover in a different video, and then fumbles and interceptions. So each team should have one of these. Each team should have the auto play calling charts. I didn't do it here, but I often like to print these one on each side. So you have your sort of normal play calls. That's anything that's not within 10 yards of the goal line. And then you have your goal line calls here, because there's some shorter plays, and also goal line defense is added on here as well. So a little bit harder to run in the goal line situation, which is kind of normal. That's how it is, right? A little bit easier to run the football out here, and maybe a little bit easier to throw inside the goal line. So we have those. So there needs to be at least one of those to be able to play the game. And each of them is contextualized. So the one I just showed you was for 2023. Basically, it's about the play selection for the auto play calling. What's the run pass ratio on first and second down? That's really going to determine a lot. And how deep do people throw it? Completion percentage is going to be handled here on this chart here, but play selection is going to be handled somewhere else. So if you're allowing the dice or the computer AI to handle that, then it's going to be in a particular kind of ratio of pass to run. So 1985 has quite a bit more running, especially first and second down, and then more deep passes, because they generally, when they threw it deep. Their yards per catch are about 1 yard more than 2023. The next thing is, if you're playing head-to-head, then you're going to need the formation cards. So this is just for head-to-head play. So these, the chart I just showed you is for solo play. which I figure most people are going to play solo. But we also have these formation cards. Essentially, these cards are the same thing on the auto play calling sheet, just at the bottom. I'll show you. So they're essentially the same effects down here that you would normally find on the auto play calling sheet. And I'm just recognizing, let's see. Just recognizing I might have to amend that just a little to include the goal line defense. Yeah, I have to do that. But essentially, if you're playing head to head, you'll take these. Each person will have their own, and then you can put down whatever play you want. You each choose a play, and then you flip it up, and you can see what the play is on the play. Okay, so you'll need a set of those if you're going to play head to head. If you're not playing head to head, you won't have to worry about it. A game field or a chart. If you don't have one already and you want to just use the game field that's provided, this is the game field that comes with the game. There's nothing particularly special, just a way to keep track of downs and distance, first downs, things like that. You'll have to add your own markers here. Often I'll use spare dice to just hold places, or I really like these. I like these D4s to just kind of show me where it is on the field. And if you do 2, if you do 2 D4s, then you can have the offensive line of scrimmage and 10 yards down the field, so that you can just kind of move this and always know where the first down marker is. So they're easy to pick up because they have kind of a little top that makes them easy to pick up and move around, plus they point. So I really like the D4s. And when they're when the game switches and you have to punt from the 12 and now the other team takes over at the 49, now you basically just switch them, and then this becomes your offense and defense, and you can keep track of them if they're color coded. So, and same thing with the timing. Often I'll just use a D6 or some dice or Monopoly token. If you have like actual nice clear transparent tokens, you can use those on here as well. So you'll need some way to keep track of the football game, the timing and the yards. So if you have that, great. If not, it's been provided. And then if you want to keep any sort of statistics, a score sheet has been provided here. These are mostly team level score statistics, so you can keep track of passing and rushing yards, and these are the number of attempts in the boxes here. A long time ago I started on kind of transforming this into an Excel sheet, so that as you fill in each of these, it kind of has a running total and gives you running totals at the end of the game, that kind of stuff. But I've abandoned that a little bit. Not sure why, but I abandoned it, and maybe I'll pick up on that as well, or someone wants to recreate this and create a nice Excel sheet. That would be awesome. It's got a place for you to put weather effects, and any team level adjustments that you're going to use for each play can go up here. Your offense and defensive advantages. So on the team cards, each team has an offense or a defensive advantage. So if it's a +1, then, and the other team's defense is a 0, then this offense has a +1 on every roll. They're just a better offense than the other team is a defense. A 0 defense is bad, really bad. Most teams are a 1-1. Some teams like this are a 1-2 or a 2-1. Occasionally you run into the 85 Chargers, are a 2 on offense and a 0 on defense. So you occasionally run into that, or a 1 and a 0. So these are different, and the adjustments happen based on each team. So basically, you see offense, and you would write 1, and defense -2. And then as you compare these, the offense to the defense, you can make an adjustment here, or the defense to the offense, you can make an adjustment here. And really, these are going to be your offensive adjustments. There's no adjustments to make for defense. The defense has an adjustment that has to be made, but these adjustment numbers only affect the offensive team's role. So you can see here, well, you can't see it, but inside here it's maybe a little too light, but it says away and home. It says type of weather and any adjustment that needs to be made. So each team will also need, if you're keeping track of stats, it's optional, and you can leave that out of the game and still play it, or maybe at the beginning, if you want to leave that out, you can. And then the final part, and this is also an optional part of the game that I would encourage you to to maybe add in as you get the hang of just the general gameplay, is momentum. So we have the red is for defensive, and they kind of match up with these, with red for defense, green for offense. And so you can see they're just small little cards, and basically you would put them into a discard type pile like this, and when there's a momentum play, and those are outlined inside the game guide, when there's a momentum play, you would just basically flip the top card, and then that would apply to the team that made the big play, that made the momentum changing play. And so you flip that card over, and you assign it to the team, and then they would have that play until it either runs out. So this one goes for the current drive, this one says for the current quarter, and some of them say for a half. You get momentum for an entire half. Let's see. It's definitely on here. Okay, so here you get a -1 on all defensive plays for the current half. So some are longer lasting than others. If it's for the current drive and then the drive finishes, you would just put this at the bottom of the discard pile like that. If it's for a quarter, once the quarter ends, if the other team hasn't been able to draw a momentum card, then you would put that away. And so now neither team has the momentum. It's like a spurt. Each team gets a home field advantage. If you're playing momentum, you should give the home field advantage to the home team. You could play it where the home field doesn't matter that much, but basically you get a +1 on all offensive plays, you get a -1 on all defensive plays. So it's quite an advantage, but sometimes the home field has that kind of advantage. So those are all of the things that you need. So we have our formation cards, our momentum cards, each of the team cards. You'll need some way to keep track of stats if you want to do that. You don't have to keep track of stats. You'll need some sort of game field or a way to keep track of the clock. The clock is in 30-second and 15-second increments, so that's how the clock works. And then what else? You'll need the D6 and the D10 dice. I suggest 2D6, 2D10s, but you can make that choice on your own. If you only have one D10 and one D6, you can make the game work that way. You'll just kind of have to remember what each of the numbers is. So this way you don't really have to remember what the numbers are for the play calling. And then that's what you need to set up. You'll need a few tokens if you want to keep track of the game field and the timing. The timing is not so unusual. There are lots of games that use 30 seconds, 15. So if you have timing mechanisms for those games, you can certainly use those if you'd like. Okay, I think that's all for the game setup. Next, we'll talk about getting the game into motion. So the coin toss and the kickoff, and actually, yeah, the coin toss and the kickoff. Let's go with that.